Hey guys, doing a little painting video again today. Today's video I want to do a little bit of layering of paints and dry brushing for you. I had a lot of questions after I showed the Santas the other day. The Santa Clauses, as you can see, their beards are not one solid color of paint. They're multi-layered actually, and then dry brushed on top. And I want to share it with you just so that you get a little extra in your carving. So even if it's from a little bit of snow on your Christmas tree to here's the manger I did for a sermon illustration this week, and it's the straw. You can see that straw is yellow, but it's not yellow. There's layers and shades to it. And even if it's just for a little wisp of white on the edges of your cuts, it all adds some character to your carving. It's fun to see how, as I learn how things evolve. And back in the day, I remember we used to paint everything solid color paint and gob antiquing on it. And I don't do that anymore at all, but it takes more time. Yesterday, I was inspired by, of course, my favorite book of gnomes here. And I always find something in here to keep me busy. But if you can see up on the wall here, they carved their little portraits of their ancestors, and I thought it'd be fun just to for a challenge to carve, not far from a Santa, but to carve a little gnome. And I knew I'd be layering the beard, so I thought this is a perfect opportunity to bring you through. I'll just take you bits and bites throughout. We're not going to do a whole long, boring painting video, but I'll show you what I'm doing and the techniques, how I get that beard multi-layered. Because as you can see, his beard is white overall, but look deep into his beard and you can see lots of dark grays and light grays and whites. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to get set up here and we'll start. First thing I like to do is give it a good coat of linseed oil. Now you can use mineral oil or you can use nothing whatsoever, but some guys like to spray a matte lacquer. But the idea is just to get something on the wood, seal it a little bit so that the paint doesn't soak in, and then you're stuck. When you have a sealed carving, you can actually play with the paint a little bit more, and you know, even take some off if it's too much. So just going to go around, give it a real quick bath in linseed oil, and then pat it dry, and we'll move on. And just finishing up the this gray here. I would have liked it a little bit wetter, but that's okay. But you can see now we've got a base right down in the deep cuts. It has that nice dark gray in there, and eyebrows. So we're gonna let that dry up. But I put white in the eyes here, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the hat red, and then we're going to come back and we'll put another layer on the beard. Again, just using the craft store acrylics, too much at a time. I'll just put some over here, and just wetting it down. I want to get a real good thin coat of paint on there so it really gets in there. More of a stain than a paint. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead, paint this hat while we wait for the gray to dry just a little bit. All right, now if you find yourself gobbing paint on your fingers, something I learned too from Dave Stetson, I made these little dowels with screws in them, especially for smaller things. You can just take it and hold it by the stick, and you can paint without any without touching it and getting paint all over your fingers and transferring it to other parts of the body. So it's just a drywall screw with the head cut off, stuck in a hole and glued. So another little one. I'm sure he learned it from somebody else, but yeah, no, it's a good little tip. And that's where we're at right now. time to do it again with a lighter gray. I'm not giving you color names or anything. It's dark gray, light gray, whatever. I don't use the same color twice either, so just going to wet up that light as well, mixing it up. Now we're just going to do the same thing again as we did with the dark. I'm just going to go over it, and you can see how the dark will show through. Not really looking to fill all the dark cracks. Just kind of giving a real quicker paint. That. So it's not dark gray and it's not light gray. There you go. See that? You can already see how the dark still is visible through the light. Even though it's basically two layers, it's you can see through it. So there's already two shades. I'll just keep going around with this. Finish this guy off, making sure I always forget the eyebrows, so I'll do them right off the bat. But yeah, I'll just finish this up, and we'll move on to the dry brushing. I'm gonna put a little dab of blue on the eyeballs, and then let that dry while we dry brush the beard again. All right, so just before I put his pupil in, give it a little dark line. This kind of sharpens up that eyeball. I don't know if the light's good enough, but just kind of trace that. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of black. Wait for it to dry then after too. Just going to leave a little ring of blue on the eye. All right. Then we'll get to the good stuff. Time to do our dry brushing of white. So for my white, it's just going to be solid white. And what I'm doing is, you want a brush that can hold some paint. This may not be the best example, but that's what I have. These are just, again, Oriental art brush. It means nothing to me. I didn't choose it. I just looked at it and said, that'll hold some paint. You know, as opposed to, you know, a little sash brush or something. So I'm putting it in the white paint here, and I'm just filling that brush full of paint. All right, I'm wiping it off. I'm putting it in a paper towel, and I'm actually patting it. And then I'm going to go back and forth. See that? And when it stops, hardly puts any paint on my hand. All right, that brush is ready for dry brushing. So now we're just going to take our brush and we're going to go any ridges. We're going to go across them. You see that? See how that's leaving just a trace of paint? And that's why we want to get the center of that brush full of paint. That's where it's pulling from. Let's do the mustache. Like that. See that side to that side. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to wet my brush, get it right full of paint. Gonna just squeeze it in my paper towel here. Make sure it's not leaving too much paint. We'll do the eyebrows. Sides. And just leaving a remnant of paint on the high points. So colors are up to you. You can start with a yellow to a brown even. It doesn't matter. I could have been a little bit whiter. Could have started with a light gray to a lighter gray. And did it that way too. But just like I said, it's the same as the manger, yellow and brown. Or, like I said, just putting a skiff of snow on something. But that's all it is. You're just catching the high points with the white. And it gives it just another layer to it. So. And that's about it for the beard. I'd say he looks a heck of a lot different. For the rosy cheeks, I'm going to take some of this leftover from his hat here and just put a dab over here. This is going to be so light. It's not even going to look like paint. I just want it very light. There we go. Okay, let's just touch it on his nose and see. It's just a little bit of color. All right. Dab it on there. I don't know if it shows up good or not, but just starting to get some rosy cheeks on him. It runs down the beard. I can just pat it off. Do the edges of the ears. This little ear trick is from my buddy Blake Lunsford. I saw one of his guys. A little bit of hair over the ears sure saves a lot of fooling with all the details of the ear. You see that little bit of pink on there? Yeah. I dare not do any more. With the being a gnome hat on here, there isn't really a lot of contours and shapes for shading. So you can see, like on this elf, you can see how there's areas of shading and shadowing, but we don't have that on here. So just going to take that red again, only we're going to use the actual red color, and we're just going to try and catch the tips of the facets that I've cut. So we're just going to take our solid color here. Again, got some gray mixed in there, who cares? I'm just going to wet that brush up. Going to dab it off. Dab it off. Make sure we're not leaving too much paint. Alright. The old hand. And let's just see if we can just catch those facets. We could use black as well. But you can see how those facets are starting to pop a bit. I hope you can see that. I can see it. Oh yeah, you can see how just another way of taking out the one-dimensional color, giving it some highlights. the side. Just raising all those facets because we like facets. You could have done white, you could have done black, but I just thought just to keep it a little soft, we just stick with the same color that we watered down in a solid. All right. All right, we just got this guy licked. Time for one drop of white on the eyeball. Again, solid. Again, put my glasses on. All right, one little drop on the edge of the black and the blue. And there we got our man here. All right, guys, there is our little gnome all finished up. You can see the depth in his beard, the colors. A little extra dry brushing on the hat here, catching the facets. So yeah, hope this video was good for you and you may have picked something up. But it's just taking that boring plain paint job and just boosting it up, and you can do so much more with this still. But a lot of guys are now, when you really get into it, they'll spend as much time painting as they do carving, and we're not there yet, but we're making little baby steps. So just want to again shout out the coffee buyers club. I appreciate you guys. I love all your little notes and messages, and you're just killing it, and what a treat for me, and I sure appreciate it. So until the next video, take care, guys.